TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
It's the extra point, and it's Mazzi, and it's Live Zone once again rocking with you. Happy to be here. What's up, Live Zone? How you doing?
We got a hell of an episode here. The NFL playoffs are here. I'm pumped. I'm ready to talk about it. There's a lot of things to talk about. What are we getting into first?
Let's get going, brother. It's playoff season, best time of the year for NFL fans for sure. I've canceled all my plans till after the Super Bowl. Nobody try to reach me. Nobody try to hang out. I'm busy, okay? I'm watching football or I'm working. All right, that's it. Bottom line, we have first round matchups ready to go. The table is set, and I'm ready to eat, okay? Kansas City has the bye in the AFC. Detroit Lions have the bye in the NFC after a dominating win over the Vikings. Kansas City losing 38-0 with their starters not playing. I don't think there's much to look into there, okay? They were just there showing up so they don't get fined. All right. We have matchups, okay? We're going to look at the AFC to start. We have Bills, Broncos. We got Ravens, Steelers division matchup. We got Texans, Chargers. Let's kick it off with the Bills and the Broncos. 2 versus 7. Josh Allen versus Bo Nix. Live Zone. What are we feeling in this game? Line set pretty far, a bigger spread than I thought. 8.5 to start. I thought it'd be closer than that, but who you got in this matchup?
I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills. I think it's going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks. Bo Nix is a hell of a fit for the Denver Broncos right now, and I think that he's not getting the respect that he deserves under Sean Payton. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that the Buffalo Bills are still going to win by 10 points, though. I think that this is a no-brainer. I think the Buffalo Bills are really out for that championship. And if we're going to be talking about a team that's going to stop Kansas City from getting into the Super Bowl, we're looking at Buffalo as the number one answer.
I'm going to disagree right off the bat with you. I'm going with the Denver Broncos to beat the Buffalo Bills in this matchup. Very surprising to some. I saw that performance from Bo Nix last night, and if he plays anywhere near what I know it was against second stringers, okay, we get it. There was some starters playing on that defense, though. But we look at it for what it is. If he plays with that intensity, that accuracy, he was 17 for 17 coming out the gate. His first incomplete pass was on his 19th throw of the game. So he was 18 for 18 out the gate and then missed a pass. That should have been a touchdown to the running back, Williams, out of the back, wheel route. We won't talk about it. But hear me out. Bo Nix, look at this. Bo Nix. Playing out of his mind. He got Cortland Sutton, Mims going crazy. They have 2 running backs, McLaughlin and Williams, that can get it done. They can attack you on offense. They can score with the best of them. They're averaging about 30 points or more in at least their last 7 games that I've seen. They can keep up scoring wise with Buffalo. The interesting side of this that I'm looking at is their defense. Their defense is a defense that can contain a quarterback. What's the number one thing you need to do against Josh Allen? Take away his run ability and be able to defend downfield. Broncos do both of those things very well. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than an 8.5 spread. And that's just me blatantly saying it. Okay, that's a fact. It's going to be closer than an 8.5 spread. I think it's a field goal game here. We're looking at a 28-24 game, 27-24 game. Keep it within the 3-point range. But I do think Denver can go on the road and beat Buffalo in January.
It's a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup for the Denver Broncos. I understand what you're saying. But the thing you got to look at is that most of these second stringers were playing in the Kansas City uniform, and we looked at Kansas City when they had all these injuries and they were in trouble. So I mean, I don't know. I can't say that I see the Broncos beating the Bills. I do see it being a close game though. I'm looking at the spread right now. I'm saying minus 8.5 is perfect because I think that the Bills are going to win around like 10 points. But the thing that I'm really looking at is the over for 47.5. I really think that that's a hit. I just think that the Buffalo Bills are really the team to beat in the AFC other than the Kansas City Chiefs. But we shall see what happens. I'm going to go with experience, though. I'm going to go with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
We'll have to see. We got a 3-6 matchup, division matchup as well. The Ravens and the Steelers. Steelers are going on the road to Baltimore. What do you see happening in this one, Live Zone?
This is where I see the close game happening. I don't like the spread at minus 9.5. Division rivals going at it against one another. We all know that Baltimore has a very tough time against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh also has a tough time against Baltimore as well. So I really see it being like a 3-point game or a 7-point game. I don't see it being that 9.5 that everybody's saying. So I would take the plus on the spread with the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 9.5. I don't see it being over 43 points either. I really see it being like that 21-18 type game. I can't see it being a high scoring game with both of these guys going at it, and it's two very good defenses and very good offenses going at it again for the third time this season. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens though. I think they're going to squeak by. I think that they're going to make it. I want to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers, but based off of what I've seen in the last few weeks, they're just not ready. And give it like 1 or 2 seasons with this core, they're going to be dangerous. Now, if Pittsburgh decides to flip the switch and go with a running quarterback and go with Justin Fields instead of Russell Wilson, and then switches up the offense, then it's going to be a more exciting game. We're going to see a lot of different things happen. But until they can make that switch where they can go from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson to Justin Fields to Russell Wilson, like a switch, I really don't see Pittsburgh doing much.
Yeah, I'm going to go against you on this one. I'm picking the Ravens to start, okay? But I'm thinking it's a blowout. Okay, what I've seen from this Pittsburgh offense in these past couple of weeks is horrific. George Pickens, I'm looking at you. You were on my fantasy team. I was high on you from the start of the season. You're a bum. Okay, your attitude, your mindset, and everything about you is toxic to your team. Okay, going out and in the last game of the season where you need to win to have a chance at the division, you have 1 reception for 0 yards is unacceptable as the #1 wide receiver on the team. I need a little less talk from you about how good you are and a little more on the field action. Midway through the season, you could talk all you want. You were balling out. Right now, no more talk. Time for doing. I don't see Russell Wilson getting it done because if George Pickens isn't on the deep ball threat, nothing else on this offense opens up. Najee could get a touchdown here and there, but that's about it. There's really nothing happening. Freiermuth could catch a few passes down the field. They're not keeping up with a Baltimore Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Bateman, Zay Flowers if he's healthy. I mean, come on. You're not keeping up with it. I don't care how good your defense is. You were able to hold Baltimore to not scoring throughout the season, okay? You held them in points under 30, okay? That's not happening. Lamar, Henry, they're out for blood, okay? They're coming for you. Their eyes are on Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and going to this AFC Championship game. They're going to stomp you. I know Steelers have the head coach, right? Mike Tomlin, okay? He's going to get those boys ready to play. Okay, if this was in Pittsburgh, I'd have a different feeling about this. This is in Baltimore. I see the Ravens running away with this almost by 2 touchdowns. I get it. It's division game. Hasn't happened in these division games for a while, but I think it's time. Something's going to break. This playoffs is going to be something that we're not predicting, okay? We think this is going to be a close game. No, I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. It's over. The last 3 weeks that we've seen you guys play, horrific. We saw you against Kansas City, horrific. We saw you this last week against Cincinnati, who's not even a playoff team, but was playing like it horrific. It's just not going to happen. Give me Baltimore for sure.
All right. All right. I mean, once again, I have Baltimore going as well. It's just I just have it being a close game. Whenever Pickens gets criticized by media, he ends up showing up out of nowhere. Like he's like prime Antonio Brown. Like it's crazy. So with the media getting on him for that last game that they just had, I don't know. I see him having a good game.
He might go off. We'll see. We'll see. We got another matchup in the AFC. We got Texans Chargers, the 4-5 game. Looking like a good game, if I do have to say so myself. All these games, honestly, all these matchups are looking pretty good. Live Zone, Texans Chargers, who we rocking with?
Oh, Mr. Harborough, it is over for you, buddy. I have the Houston Texans winning this game. I know that they have injuries. I understand that. But at the beginning of the season, we really saw what Joe Mixon could do on this field. We really saw the best version of Joe Mixon come out on a Houston Texans uniform. I think we see that again in the playoffs. The first few rounds he's gonna go nutty, he's gonna go crazy, and then after that he's gonna fall off, and the Houston Texans are gonna end up going home. I see CJ Stroud having a big game as well. I know that his receivers are hurt at the moment, but I think that he could still do some damage against this inexperienced LA Chargers team. If you ask me, I'm a huge fan of Justin Herbert. I will be the first person to say that. I think Justin Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But CJ Stroud just has that dedication, that will to win. That we saw it last season, and we're going to see it this season in the playoffs again. I'm having the Houston Texans here.
I guess we're 0 for 3 on agreeing with these picks because I'm going Chargers. Reason why I'm going Chargers is few reasons, actually. I respect CJ Stroud. I like him as a quarterback. He's fallen off for me from where I thought he was. Okay. I had him here. He's right about here. Okay. Now, this is where Patrick Mahomes is, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and then everybody else is kind of in that same bubble. CJ Stroud without the offensive weapons of Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs and just having Nico Collins out there and Joe Mixon in the backfield, I'll give you that. I don't think it's enough against this Chargers team. They're going to take away Nico Collins. This Chargers defense is real. This Chargers defense is good. They've given up close. They're a top 10 defense. Okay. I think they've given up close to the least amount of touchdowns this season on defense. They're going to shut it down. Houston's going to have trouble putting up 20 to 24 points. Okay. They just are. Okay. And if you look at the Chargers, Harbaugh and Herbert, they have to get it right one year. Okay. Too many early round exits for this team and this coach and always. Okay. You could go back to the San Diego Chargers and talk about this stuff. Okay. Some point the Chargers and that blue and yellow, that light blue and that yellow lightning strike need to get it right. And I think they move on in this first round. Okay. Quentin Johnston going crazy in week 18. I expect more of that. I just like the Chargers in this one. I know they're on the road. I just think the Texans have been on the downslide, whereas last season with the Texans going into the playoffs, they were on the upswing. They had all the momentum going in. It helped carry them. This year, I think it's been like this for the Texans, and I think they were here, and after the Tank Dell injury, it's just tanking down. I see it being a very close game. I'm thinking about 27-20. A late touchdown to win the game by the Chargers or field goal, 23-20, 27-20, whatever you think, whatever floats your boat. But give me the Chargers to beat the Texans.
Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised that the Texans are on, like you said, they're up and down, up and down. And you were talking about how they're on a down right now. They need to find that up. They need to find the way to climb back up and get a positive out of this season. And the only way to do that is to beat the LA Chargers right now. CJ Stroud needs to show up. He needs to be that quarterback that we know he is. And he needs to find a way to win this game. And I really think Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, and Joe Mixon are enough to get it done against this LA Chargers team. I do think that it's going to be extremely sneaky though. It's going to be like that much. I think it's going to be like 18-20 with 3 minutes left or something like that, 4 minutes left. And then after that, CJ Stroud moves them down to get a field goal and they win 21-20. I think that this plus 2.5 for the Houston Texans being at home against this Chargers team, they got to get it done. They got to get it done.
Hey, we're gonna have to see. I'm ready. My couch is ready. The chips, the nachos, the dips, the drinks. I'm ready, brother. I am ready. Okay, we have the NFC to talk about though. Two conferences. Lions with the bye. We got the 2-7 matchup in the Eagles and the Packers. Whoo! Gonna be a showdown in Philly. Live zone. Who you got?
Well, you know how I told you that last week that the Green Bay Packers could make a run, correct? I'm going fully against that right now. The Philadelphia Eagles are making it minus 4.5 for the Eagles right now. I think is perfect. I think they win by 7-10. I think this game does go over 45.5 though. I think that's a very fair a coordination based off of what both teams have done this season. But I mean, come on, Saquon Barkley being benched on week 18 to get the record. He's going off first game of the playoffs. He's going to do his thing. So give me Philadelphia. I have Philadelphia knocking out Green Bay.
All right, we're on the train. I'm going to agree with you on this one, mainly because of two reasons. The injuries last week to the Packers. Jordan Love's little injury, and then Watson going down as well. Or Watkins. Is it Watson? I believe it's Watson.
Yeah, Christian Watson. Yep.
Them going down, just not a good look in week 18. I know they're probably still going to play, but I don't like a not 100% Jordan Love. The only thing that might be a saving grace for the Packers is that Josh Jacobs might be able to go pound for pound for Saquon Barkley in that game. You know, if Josh puts up over 100 and Saquon puts up over 100, Josh Jacobs has had multiple games with multiple TDs. Same with Saquon. I don't know. It comes down to the quarterback for me. It comes down to Jalen Hurts. Is he going to be better than Jordan Love in the game? And I think yes. I think he's been here before. Okay. Jalen, he's ready to get it done. And I just think Philly at home, if this was Lambeau, you might catch me leaning Packers with a sneaky win, but it's cold weather, both cold weather teams. They've been here. They know how to play. Give me the Eagles to beat the Packers and move on. We got the 3-6 seed next. What's up, Live Zone? What do you want to say about that one?
Before we get to that 3 and 6 seed, the thing that I do want to point out is that both Saquon did not go for the record last week, and AJ Brown got snubbed off of being one of the Pro Bowl selections. Philadelphia is going to be a scary team in this playoffs.
Tell me that Philly beats them by 14 right now.
Probably. But without
all
Jordan
right,
Love,
you heard it here first.
Without Jordan Love, most definitely.
All right, you heard it here first. Okay, we got that 3-6 matchup. We got the Buccaneers and the Washington Commanders, and I believe the Commanders, as the 6th seed, are not favored. I think the Bucs are still favored in this game. Live Zone, Bucs versus Commanders. Mayfield, Daniels, what's up? What are we rocking with?
I'm rocking with the Bucs. I am rocking 110% with the Bucs. Baker Mayfield has been doing his thing all season. Mike Evans got his 1,000th or 100th touchdown, whatever it was. And they're on a high right now. Commanders doing their thing, but they have a lot of young talent that I don't know is ready to be in this playoff situation against a team that's scrappy like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going with -3 is perfect. I think that they win by 3 points and they sneak it out. Over 50.5, I'm also going with. I think both of these teams can put up 30 points each, in all honesty. but I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the end of the day.
Scary Terry, dude.
Yeah.
Scary Terry McLaurin. Give me the Washington Commanders to go down to Florida and beat the Buccaneers, okay? Jalen Daniels having an amazing year, okay? And there's something in the air with this Commanders team. I don't know what it is, because even Marcus Mariota threw a game-winning pass this week 18 to Scary Terry with 2 seconds left against the Dallas Cowboys, okay? Let's look at it for what it is. They have a little magic cooking in Washington. Buccaneers, okay? I love it. If you had Chris Godwin on that team still, I don't think this is much of a game, okay? I look to see what the Buccaneers did against the Saints in week 18 with a lot of their starters in, and they were just able to squeak that game out. I know they were really just trying to get Mike Evans his thing, and that was maybe what went into the game plan a lot, but hey, I didn't like what I saw, okay? To only put this is a powerful offense and a team that should be able to put up a little bit more than 27 points against the New Orleans Saints, okay? That's just what I'm feeling. But the main reason why I'm going with the Washington Commanders is Jaden Daniels, the offense, and the magic that's cooking in Washington. I think they're gonna get this win. Not too many rookie quarterbacks get a win in their first playoffs, and I think Jalen Daniels is the guy to get that done. I don't see him going much further than this first round if he does get it done, but give me the Washington Commanders to win by 7.
You're taking 7. I don't even think that there's going to be a full touchdown difference between the two teams, in all honesty. Now, the thing that I want to look at is as of right now, let me see this. It looks like they're in the middle of the pack for run defense, and with the 2 running backs that the Buccaneers have in Rashad White and Bucky Irving, as well as also having Mike Evans as an option, as well as having Auden as an option. Baker Mayfield could do some damage that nobody's expecting. So I think that the -3 for Tampa Bay is really perfect. I don't think that it's going to be more than a touchdown, but I see a high-scoring game. If you're looking for a high-scoring offensive game, this is the game to be at. I'm just taking the Buccaneers to squeak it out.
I think we've only agreed on one game so far. We got one more game on the slate. It's the 4-5 in the NFC. It's Rams versus the Vikings. Live zone. Who are we rocking with? It's in LA.
You guys had to do this to me, right? You had to put Minnesota against one of my favorite teams. No, I'm taking the LA Rams. Come on now. Matthew Stafford not playing last game. Puka Nacua still there. Kyron Williams still there. Cooper Kupp still there. Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford had been through this before where nobody thought that they were really going to do much in the playoffs. And then after that, next week came, they won. And then after that, they became Super Bowl favorites. I'm looking at the LA Rams here. The plus 1.5, I would hit that 1,000 times if I could. I would definitely put your money's worth on the 1.5 for the LA Rams. I would still look at it though, under 47.5. I don't think that both teams can score more than 24 points, or score 24 points. I think that it's going to be more of like a 21-14 type of game, 21-18, 21-17 type of game, something around that. But I'm taking the LA Rams. It's going to be a lot of offense. Expect a lot of offense. Justin Jefferson is going to go crazy. Cooper Kupp is going to get his yards. Puka Nacua is going to go crazy. Kyron Williams is probably going to get a touchdown. I'm looking at the LA Rams to beat the Minnesota Vikings after the big season that they just had.
This is the toughest one for me. Okay, on the one hand, you got Matthew Stafford and those LA Rams ready to go. They've been here. They've done it. They've come in as a middle of the pack seed and made it all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, they have the championship pedigree. And then you look at the Vikings, right? You got Sam Darnold, Mr. Impossible this year against all the odds. He's led them to almost winning the division. If he didn't have a 14 or a 15-2 team in his division, he would have won any other division. He pretty much would have won with 14-3 at the record. You know, but there's no championship pedigree on the team, really, that much. Could come into play here. But also, I look at it on the other side of what does Sam Darnold have to lose for airing this thing out? All he has to lose is people are going to continue to say Sam Darnold was a bust. Okay. That's it. He's been hearing that his entire career. And I think that's the mentality he's been going through this entire season. What's the worst that could happen? They continue to write me off, or I shock them a little bit. We're still at the end of the season. Sam Darnold just put up crazy numbers and put the Vikings in the playoffs at 14-3, and everybody still is doubting him. Okay. Myself included. We picked last week. We knew that Detroit was going to win that game. We thought Sam Darnold, or I thought Sam Darnold was going to lay the egg. He laid the egg. Okay. I think that's the egg of the season. He might come into LA and get this done, and I'm going to rock with him. Okay. I haven't rocked with him all season long at all. I'm taking Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson to beat the LA Rams in LA in a close game. Give me 30-24 Minnesota Vikings over the LA Rams.
That's hey, I can see why you take I can see why you take it. With the season that Sam Darnold is having, I understand
Give him
it.
one.
I understand it, but if we look at how Minnesota has been in the last few years, even when Stephon Diggs was on the team, still a first round exit. So I'm looking at Minnesota Vikings.
You forget about the miracle. You forget about the miracle in Minnesota.
The 1 year. But until they prove me wrong, until Justin Jefferson can prove me wrong, I'm going with my LA Rams.
There you have it. Well, we're sticking with the playoff matchups because we just want to look at what our most exciting matchup and what we are looking for. Personally, maybe it's not you, okay? Maybe this ain't your cup of tea, all right? But this is what I'm looking forward to, and this is what Live Zone's looking forward to. So, Live Zone, what game are you most excited for and think is going to be the most exciting?
I think the most exciting game for defense is going to be the Houston Texans going against the LA Chargers. Now, I understand that both teams don't score a lot. I understand that both teams are really under that 24 mark for points all season. But I'm looking at this as a defensive matchup. Like I said, I have that game being a 21-20 game. If you're looking for defense, that's the game I'm watching. Now, on the other side, if I'm looking at offense, the game that I'm watching is the Minnesota Vikings going against the LA Rams. I think that is going to be the most offensive powered game right now in the playoffs. You have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on one side. You have Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson on one side. You have a quarterback in Sam Darnold that needs to prove something. You have Matthew Stafford that needs to prove that he's not old enough where he can't win in the playoffs. You also have Kyren Williams and Aaron Jones on the running back side, two of the best running backs in the league, or at least top 5 to top 7 running backs in the league. I'm looking at that as the offensive game that, all right, we can see a lot of scoring. We can see a lot of exciting plays happen in that type of game. So for that reason, I'm going offensive-wise. The game you want to watch is Minnesota versus LA. But on the other side, the defensive side, if you're a defensive person first, then the Chargers versus the Texans is going to be the team to watch.
Well, I like it. I'm going with neither of those games. I'm going with the game that's going to have a little bit of everything. Bounces one way, bounces another way, fumbles, interceptions, deep passing, little defense here and there, touchdown catches, maybe kooky plays. Give me the Bucks Commanders game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a really fun game. Jaden Daniels, creative in the pocket, can run, can make the throws, can make the last second drives, can do whatever he needs to do to will his team to victory, okay? Baker Mayfield does the same exact thing. He's only been in the league a little longer. That's the only difference. The teams are evenly matched. They got top wide receivers. They got decent running back. Actually, I would give Tampa Bay the running back props on that with their 1-2 punch in Bucky and White. But if you look at it on the defensive side, I'm giving Washington's defense more props than Tampa Bay's defense. So looking at it from that, it's very evenly matched up. I know I just said that Washington's winning by 7, but I think it's going to be a wild, kooky game. I think that 7 may just be a last second 7 and put it up like that, but this game's going to be close and a battle and back and forth and all over the place. You'll see a 60-yard pass, and then you'll see a snap that goes over the quarterback's head back 15 yards, and then you'll see a pass interference to get them down 30 more yards, and then you'll see 2 holding calls to bring them back 20 yards. Like, I think it's going to be a wild game like that where you're just like, nothing that you expect to happen is going to happen. It's just going to be kooky. Give me that for my most exciting matchup of the NFL playoffs to start. And hey, guess what? While you're watching the NFL playoffs, why don't you enjoy a steak from Atlanta Steaks and Seafood or anything they have to offer and let them tell you about it, all right?
A little bit of
Maybe
technical
not.
difficulties.
Maybe
Yeah, a little
not.
bit,
Atlanta
little
does
bit.
not. And just like that, we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. That was terrible. Probably a Wi-Fi connection or something. Let's keep it
Yeah.
rolling. We got the NFL draft situation to talk about. Okay. There's a lot going down. We're going to keep New England for the end. All right. We're not even going to get into that. I am wreathing, whatever the word is. I'm so angry with New England. We can save that for the end for me to go off. So let's talk about the NFL draft. Let's look at it for what it is. Let's see who's at the top, who's going to make the moves, what's going on. You got Tennessee at number 1, Cleveland at number 2, New York at number 3. We're going to skip over number 4, and we're going to skip to 5 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's keep it with the top 5. Let's look at what we're looking at. Okay, Livezone, what do you see going down in this draft? Okay, you got the Tennessee Titans at the number 1 spot. They need a QB, a wide receiver, an edge, and an offensive tackle. You got the Cleveland Browns, who need a wide receiver, who need quarterbacks, who need running backs, who need just about anything. They can't go wrong in the draft. And you look at the New York Giants, who need a quarterback. And then you look at the Jaguars, who need a quarterback as well. So, and then we'll look at the Patriots for number 4. But again, we're going to talk about them later, so we're saving that. Everybody in that top 5, besides New England, needs a quarterback. Okay? So, what do you see happening in this NFL draft?
Well, there's a lot of things to look at. As of right now, it looks like Cam Ward jumped up on a lot of people's boards instead of Shador Sanders, like you have been saying. So it looks like right now he's the number 1 prospect in the quarterback situation of the draft. I don't think. All right. So realistically, the Tennessee Titans are going to go Shador Sanders, but there is another thing that nobody's talking about. Jacksonville has the number 5 pick in this year's draft. All right. They need a lot of help. They just fired their coach. The GM needs to make a move. I could see the Jacksonville Jaguars be like, hey, we'll take the number 1 pick off your hands and we will give you Trevor Lawrence. That's something that now Tennessee is looked at as a threat in the AFC again, back when they had Derrick Henry. This is the type of thing that we need to see from Tennessee, is to make a move like that. Realistically, they're going to go Sanders, but I could see them trading the number 1 pick to Jacksonville to get a guy like Trevor Lawrence as well.
I like what you're saying. A little, I could see
Yeah.
the avenue and where you're thinking, but here's a reality of the same division. You really think Trevor Lawrence is worth the first overall pick in the draft? Are you taking your chances with developing a quarterback and possibly taking a Sanders and possibly getting his dad as the head coach too? Do you want to give that up for a Trevor Lawrence?
Well, this is the thing that I'm thinking, right? I think that Tennessee doesn't have anything to move to get a guy like Hunter. So I think that if you look at it from a standpoint like this, you take Travis Hunter as a number one draft pick in Jacksonville. And then after that, you also have the 5 pick, and that's where you pick Shador Sanders. And then you get Dion to come be your coach now that you fired Doug Peterson. It's a stretch, but it's the closest thing that we're going to get to these three being together in the NFL in my eyes. I don't think if you're Tennessee getting Shador Sanders, I don't think that's enough to bring Deion Sanders to the NFL, especially in the Tennessee uniform and stuff like that. I just don't see that. So realistically, Tennessee is going to pick Shador Sanders. As of right now, I still have Shador Sanders number one. But if Tennessee decides to move that pick for Trevor Lawrence, that tends to change for me. I see Hunter being the number one pick.
I could realistically, okay, so with the draft stock, I think Cleveland's heavily looking at Cam Ward, and I think Cam Ward is a Cleveland-bound guy, to be honest, okay? He's kind of what Cleveland is about, a dude who can stand in the pocket and gunsling it, roll out if he needs to, make a couple plays. He's not a running threat really like that, but I think he can distribute the ball. When you have a full, healthy Cleveland Browns receiving core, I don't think it's the worst receiving core in the NFL. I don't think it's the best, okay? But I don't think it's the worst. I think it's mid, okay? But I think with a guy like Cam Ward slinging it, a little better than Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston, though. Give me that. Give me that. Shout out. But I think Cam Ward's locked in to go to Cleveland. I'm just worried about this number one pick because, you look at it, like you're saying, okay, Tennessee they need a wide receiver and they need a quarterback. They need a lot, okay? Do you think Shador Sanders is a quarterback that's going to be in this league for 10 to 15 years, being great and winning games? Or do you think Travis Hunter is going to have a longer career as a wide receiver and be a more dominant receiver? That's what it comes down to for me if I'm Tennessee. Truthfully, from what I've seen, mentality-wise and everything, I think Travis Hunter is a better pick than Shador Sanders in the long run. It all depends on what you're trying to accomplish on your team. I think there's better quarterbacks to be had in the NFL and on waiver wires and in this draft than taking Shador number one. I think Travis Hunter as a number one is a generational talent, more of the likes like Deion Sanders. Okay.
Yes.
So I think that's the number one that you go with. If you are the number one pick and you have the choice between a quarterback and a wide receiver, I say take Travis Hunter, Tennessee. Say take it. And then it comes down to Cleveland making the decision, which they'll ultimately make the wrong decision, as they always do, between Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. From there, I don't know what's going to happen, but the New York Giants are going to scrap up whatever they can find at quarterback, whether it's Cam Ward's there or it's Shador Sanders. One of them, whoever's left, is going to New York. All right. They got a wide, and that's going to be dangerous. That's what I want people to look out for. Okay. That wide receiving core, the young running back over there as well for New York, if they can put in a quarterback that actually knows how to get it done and doesn't trip over his own feet while running for a touchdown like Daniel Jones or a Drew Lock, who I thought he was out of the league at this point since the last time he played for Denver. I mean, if they could just put a quarterback in there, for God's sakes, in New York, they're going to be a 500 team at least, and something to look out for against teams. They'll be a tough matchup. So there's a lot of ways this draft can go. There is a lot of things to play, and we haven't even talked about what New England's going to do in this draft because we're saving it for the end. So
Yeah,
a lot to look forward to, though.
Yeah, and the other thing that nobody else is talking about as well is, Tennessee, they have a lot of power with this pick. They could trade to a lot of teams. Is there a reason why the New England Patriots decided to draft Drake May and Joe Milton? That's another thing that you got to look at because the Patriots could
Don't
potentially
talk about it. We're
trade up.
saving it for
Yeah,
the end, brother.
yeah, 110%. But they could potentially trade up and still get Travis Hunter. So that's another thing that you got to look at. Either way, I have 110%. Number two, I have Cam Ward. I have Cam Ward going to Cleveland just like you, 110%. But depending on what Tennessee does with this first pick, depends if we see Shador Sanders go number one or if we see Shador Sanders go number three to the New York Giants. Now, that's the conversation that needs to be had. Is there's three different scenarios there. If the Patriots trade up, Travis Hunter's going number one to New England. It's going to happen. If Jacksonville decides to trade Trevor Lawrence and get that number one pick, they're going Travis Hunter as well. And then after that, they're going to drop down to 5 and hopefully get Shador Sanders. And then if Tennessee gets the number one pick and stays with the number one pick, Shador Sanders is going number one because they obviously need a quarterback. So it really just depends on what Tennessee does with this number one pick.
Heck yeah, the Patriots could have been in that scenario themselves. Okay, so we're going to move on because we have one more topic before we go off. Tyreek Hill wants out. I'm out. He said he's out. Tyreek is out of Miami, okay? Where in the world is Tyreek Hill going to land? What's a spot that you like? What's in the stratosphere live zone? What are we feeling?
There's a lot of places that I could see him do damage in. I'm just gonna name a few teams out there just to get the ball rolling. The first thing that I'm gonna talk about is the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert needs his number one wide receiver. I could see that definitely being a possibility. Miami might go after a guy like Brendan Rice that hasn't proven anything yet, but he is Jerry Rice's son, so he could be something. We just don't know because the Chargers are not playing him. But there's a lot of things that could happen with Tyreek Hill being the number one guy in Los Angeles to Justin Herbert. And honestly, if that happens, it changes the game. It changes the whole game mode for Kansas City, for Buffalo, for Baltimore, for everybody. Number two team that I'm going to be talking about here is another AFC team. I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens is another team that I could see. Imagine that. Imagine Tyreek Hill, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson all on the same team. Could happen. It could. That's another scary thing that could end up happening. I have two more teams to reach out to you with. One being the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, listen. It could be a reunion there in Kansas City, and if that's the case, nobody's stopping them because they have Travis Kelce, they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Kareem Hunt back, they have Isaiah Pacheco, they have DeAndre Hopkins, and now adding a guy like Tyreek Hill back to that lineup. It's like having an all-star lineup pretty much in that Kansas City Chiefs uniform. So honestly, that's probably the best place.
Don't forget about Worthy. Don't forget about Xavier Worthy.
Well,
too.
Xavier Worthy might be the guy that's out in the trade. He might.
I think they're gonna have to give up a little bit more for Tyreek Hill. I think Miami's gonna hold it.
110%. 110%. It's gonna be more than just Worthy, but I really do think Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and a few picks could get the job done to bring him back to Kansas City. Then the other team that I'm gonna bring out there, this one's gonna be a stretch. This one is going to be unrealistic to most, but they're looking for a number one wide receiver, the New England Patriots. I have the New England Patriots being really the number one spot for Tyreek Hill. You have Drake May. He's young. He's ready. He's hungry. They need to get that offensive line better, obviously, but you have T. Higgins that's interested. Maybe Travis Hunter. If not, then you could look at Genty if they get a guy like Tyreek Hill and have Stevenson and Genty as well as T. Higgins with Tyreek Hill. Could be something to watch out for. And knowing how Tyreek Hill is and knowing that Tyreek Hill really wants vengeance on all the teams that he leaves, I could see him going to a division rival like the New England Patriots. But the other thing is I could also see him going to Buffalo Bills as well. So there's a lot of places that he could fit, a lot of places that he could do damage in. But those are really the 5 spots that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I like Kansas City as well. I have thought about New England as well. If New England can land a guy like Travis Hunter and say that Drake May is going to be our starting quarterback with Joe Milton behind it, or even if they could land a Genti at the 4 as a running back on their team and they need a wide receiver 1 and they grab a Higgins and Tyreek, that could be a dangerous team with a Mike Vrabel at head coach. Love it. I love that you brought up the Buffalo Bills as the last one because that's what I'm thinking. Who's the number 1 wide receiver on the Buffalo Bills?
Amari Cooper.
Who? Okay,
Amari Cooper.
there you go. There you go. Let's put Tyreek and Amari Cooper and then Coleman, okay, with Josh Allen, okay? That's scary. You got a deep ball, you got a middle of the field, and you got a slant, okay? You have it all, okay? Then you have a James Cook in the background. You got a mobile quarterback who can sling it from anywhere on the field, and you got a defense that can hold people, the best team down, okay? So that truly, if I'm looking at it for Tyreek and I want to put some pain on the Kansas City Chiefs, I want to go up against the Kansas City Chiefs and show Patrick Mahomes that I can beat him. I want to go up against the Miami twice a year and show them why they should have balled out with me or sold out. Tyreek Hill is definitely staying in the AFC, I think. I don't think he goes NFC at all. Nope. But Buffalo Bills is the one that I'm looking at for Tyreek. I'm like, dang, the way the cards may fall in all of this, we have so much to play out between the draft, firing of coaches, hiring of coaches, add of players, contracts expiring, re-signings, deals. We have so much to happen that if the cards fall and how they're falling and everything like this, I'm looking at Tyreek to the Buffalo Bills. The only thing I'm worried about is it might be too cold up there in Buffalo for Tyreek. He kind of got used to that South Beach, Miami weather. And Kansas City, it gets cold, but not Buffalo cold.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm not. That's the reason why Buffalo is not really on my radar. That's why New England is more on my radar because it gets cold here, but not Buffalo cold. And if I look at division rivals, he's not going to New York because they have Devontae Adams, and he's not going to Buffalo because of the coldness. Where's the one team that he fits there? It's New England. So that's the reason why I brought up New England. Now, that's if everything goes right for New England, which we're going to end up talking about pretty soon here. So.
Hey, great segue, Live Zone. We got New England coming up last, but we got a commercial coming. We got a little sponsor coming from Viva Seltzer.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot.
Whoa, just like that, we're back with you. All right. Shout out Viva. Great seltzers. Go get some. Okay, I've had a couple. I like the elderberry one. It's not bad. New England's a train wreck, all right? That's all I'm going to say, dude. The only thing we got right is a quarterback. Both of our quarterbacks, actually. I love the Silky Joe Milton performance. I wish I got to see it more than once this year. That's the only thing that's got me smiling from New England. I love just seeing them sling it, the touchdown pass that he threw. Oh, I loved it. But the win on the game is just horrific. Okay. I don't even know where to start in this. Why did the New England Patriots end up winning this game? Why did they do this? They had the first pick in the draft locked up, and they sold it. They sold it to beat the Buffalo Bills second string people. Why'd they do it, Lavzo?
So the one thing that I'm looking at is Gerard Mayo knew that he wasn't going to end up being the coach of the New England Patriots after this game, and he felt a certain type of way towards it. He knew before the game, and that's the only reason that I could see this ending up happening, other than Joe Milton wanting to go off and go do his thing. I I can't really tell you why this happened, knowing that they had the number one pick. I understand that in the press conference, Gerard Mayo said, "Hey, every week we're gonna go out to win, no matter what." Okay, so what happened? What happened 13 weeks out of the season then? Why are we only having 4 wins in the season? It doesn't make sense. So for me, the only explanation is that Robert Kraft let him know, be like, hey, it was great having you, but we're not going to have you next season. And he knew before the game, and he decided to play and win the game to screw over the New England Patriots. That's the only thing I can really think of.
It's the only thing that makes sense. I really don't see another reason why, but if they genuinely just won, and they were actually trying to lose and they genuinely just won, regardless, the taste of my mouth from Gerard Mayo being the Patriots head coach, I was on board with the Gerard Mayo train. I was fully backing him. I was fully excited. I loved when he played in New England, and at this point, I don't even want to call him a Patriot anymore. Okay? Because if he did that purposely to spite the Crafts and to, regardless of if you're spiting the Crafts or not, you're hurting the fan base for the future. Okay? So if you did that on purpose, Gerard Mayo, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself selling out like that or just doing it. Who cares? I don't think it's right that they fire you off the first year, okay? Let me state that as well. I think he should have not been fired, okay? Yes, the season was a train wreck, but we knew that coming in. I'm the one that came up on here and said at the beginning of the year the Patriots win 3 to 4 games this year, okay?
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. We knew that was going to happen. The dude's never coached in his life, okay? Like, he's never been a head coach. You got to give him more than a year. How many head coaches have you seen? The Bears gave Matt Eberflus 3 years, dude. They gave him 3 years. You gave Gerard Mayo 1 year. I don't agree with that, but I definitely don't agree with winning this game and screwing over the franchise. Okay? That's absurd. Absurd. Now, furthering that, what's New England going to do at this number 4 seed? It seems like, it looks like on the outside even, that management's okay with what happened as well because they weren't going to draft the QB. It makes their decision a little easier, I guess, in what they have to do. But wouldn't you have liked to have that first seed in your pocket and been able to trade it away for something else or been able to get what you want first and then send that off to the person who got what you wanted? Like, what are we doing, brother? What is New England going to do at 4?
Yeah, 110% agreed. Like I said, realistically, they're going to end up with Travis Hunter. And if that's the case, thank the Lord as a New England fan, because there was a high chance that you were not going to get him to begin with. So the fact that they're even still in the hunt for Travis Hunter at the 4 spot is crazy to me. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think one of these teams are going to be dumb and not pick a quarterback. But at the end of the day, I understand why they're not mad about it, because now if they do draft Hunter, then they don't have to pay him as much. And that's been the A game for the New England Patriots since they really got bought by Robert Kraft is, hey, we love the talent. We love to win. We just don't like to pay you. So I understand why they're happy about it. But at the same time, I understand why behind the scenes that they're not so happy about it and why they went and they fired everybody that had to do with it. The offensive coordinator is now gone. They're now looking at the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator to come in and be the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. Gerard Mayo's gone. Mike Vrabel is going to end up coming in. You already know it's going to happen. And now after that, you have Drake May. All right, let's build this offensive line in the free agency. Let's get T. Higgins out here in free agency. Okay, cool. Now that we're in the draft, now hopefully Hunter's still there. If not, well, who do we look to? Oh, well, thank the Lord that there's one hell of a running back right there that's supposed to drop down to the 19th pick. So either way, the New England Patriots really do win this draft. It's either just going to be with Hunter or it's going to be with Genty. It's going to be with one of those guys. But either way, this is where the Tyreek Hill situation comes in. This is why I see Tyreek Hill being in a New England Patriots uniform. You give the money to somebody that's proven themselves over the years, and that guy is Tyreek Hill. So I don't know. We shall see what happens. Hopefully, we're praying for Hunter. But as a New England fan, you can't really be mad if Genty is the number one guy. I'm also looking at another wide receiver as well that nobody's really talking about. He's ranked number 3, and that's I can't say his first name, but it's McMillan from Arizona. That's another guy to watch out for in the New England Patriots radar. But chances are it's going to be either running back, wide receiver, or we're going to be really disappointed come free agency time when we end up with an offensive lineman. Those are the 3 options.
I guess the only thing that we can do is hope and pray that they make the right decision. The one thing that I know is if they draft a quarterback,
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They got Milton and they got Drake May. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see the New England Patriots. You are more likely to see the New England Patriots take a defensive player than to take a quarterback at the number 4 spot. It just is what it is. It's either going to be Hunter, it's going to be Genty, or they're going to look at one of these Arizona or one of these Penn State or another team that's they're looking at. I can almost guarantee is Notre Dame. Those are the 3 teams that they're looking at if they don't go with one of those 2 generational talents. So wouldn't be surprised if you end up seeing a Notre Dame guy on the New England Patriots at the end of the draft.
The one thing we can do is just wait and see. That's the extra point. Thanks for hanging with us. It's playoff time in football. We're excited. We get to talk drafts. We get to talk playoff games. We get to talk players. We get to talk a little bit of everything. It's fun. It's the best time of the year to be a football fan. It's Mazzi rocking with you. You can find me on X, Maserati1, Mazzurati1. We're rocking with East Coast Sports Investors always. We're on their channel. Find them ECSI on pretty much everything. East Coast Sports Investors. You got Twitter. You got YouTube. You got Instagram. We everywhere. Okay. Check out our partners as well. Wager Wires, always a staple. Atlanta Steaks and Seafood is fire. Okay. We got to look at Viva. If you're trying to have some fun, they're pretty fun too. Sports Revolt, check out. We're getting back on the articles, okay, Eric? We're coming with you. We're coming. We're gonna have them ready for you, all right? Don't you worry, all right?
Yep.
Where can they find you?
Real_live zone on X. The other ones are live_zone_himself on TikTok, and then I'm pretty sure it's official.livezone or official_livezone on Instagram. Those are the 3 places that you can find me. You can also find me on the East Coast Sports Investors profiles as well. But yeah, that's that. We got a lot coming, so just stay tuned.
We're gonna be here with more. Stay tuned.